So everyone loves a good tour, and we are here in Shenzhen at BigTreeTech, and they actually have a couple different facilities around the city, but we're gonna start with their offices here in Shenzhen itself. And we got Rich here, who's gonna give us a tour. So let's get started.
Hi guys.
So this is BQ, which for those who don't know, BQ is the proper name of the company. BigTreeTech is a part of BQ.
Well, BQ and BigTreeTech is both sub-brand of the company BQ. So the legal name for BQ is BQ, or BigTreeTech. So these are our art design teams. So they design all of our marketing materials, product pages, pictures, stickers, packagings, anything art design related, they handle that. And these are lovely marketing crew. So they handle like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, Twitter.
Social medias.
Yeah. And then these are our sales. So these are Amazon sales. These are AliExpress sales. And then these are our own official website. And then this is like 2B customers. And then over here, we have our support team. So these are the people that you will interact with most often, I guess, on social medias and like support tickets and stuff. And then we have Luke's office, which
got some foreign guys
sitting here. And then this is, well, it looks pretty messy, but this is our film booth. So we have our live streams, photo shoots, stuff.
It's where you take the product photos. If you do a live stream, it's in here. There we go, get some light. Better lighting than me, that's for sure.
This is our accounting. And then in here, we have our R&D center. So these are product managers and project managers. And she handles the, I guess, wording or design of all of our product pages. So what gets into the product page, like what goes where, what pictures should be on the product page, stuff like that. Yeah. This is our mechanical and design engineer.
And those guys are all in that blurry room back there that is very blurry and very censored because they're doing a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I can see that stuff, but unfortunately, because it's a lot of R&D stuff with products that are in development, the best you're gonna get is a nice blur and a censored bar, sorry.
Okay. And then here is our software engineers, Panonomi, Penatouch.
So these are the guys working on the software and making sure everything works with Clipper and all the other software with their products. And then in here is a big blurry room with a bunch of guys working on stuff that, again, unfortunately, I can't show you. Yeah, one day.
Okay, here's our product display stand with pandas, because obviously our bamboo products are like Panda series.
War makers, buy makers.
And then we have this big area where we have company gatherings, meetings, like
so this
parties.
Office itself, this is a new office, right? You guys recently just moved in here.
So we just moved here on December last year. End of December. Yeah, so the end of the year.
And you do have a pretty decent view of Shenzhen itself. Or at least, are we looking in towards the city or out of the city there?
I would say probably out.
Out.
But then again, I don't really know. But looking at the building style, I would say out. So
yeah, it's insane. For those that have never been to China, you drive for 45 minutes and you are still in dense downtown city. Like these cities just, they don't end. They just keep going and going and going. It is insane.
Yeah. And then we're also looking at like maybe installing a projector here so that we can like display stuff and like have meetings, stuff like that. These are just meeting rooms. This is our large meeting room for like company product trainings and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. This is our tea room or coffee room if it's in the US.
And here we are back at the entrance. Now, again, they have multiple facilities. So this is the office. They also have a PCB fabrication area and also a CNC area. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to actually visit the CNC factory yet, but we will be visiting the PCB factory, and let's head there now.
So this is where incoming materials gets registered into our system. So the way it works here is we put QR codes on everything. So each stage, anything went through, it'll just get scanned with a QR code and then it'll get into the system and then get updated. So everything is like tracked within the whole system.
Oh, it's testing.
Like strain on cables.
Yeah, so this is where all the testing happens. So this is our testing lab. So test humidity, temperature, salt spray, cable strain, like breaking tests, like shipment, vibration tests, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We can change breaking speed, yeah.
So this is after the incoming stock gets put into the system, they'll get logged into our warehouse, which contains all of them. And again, this has all the QR codes. So when you scan it, it shows up on the incoming stock thing.
And the cool thing is when you select, like if I have a bill of materials for a build that I'm doing, I'll scan that bill of materials and the exact location, like you can see the green over there. That'll tell you where it is, and then you see all the green things lighting up over there. That'll tell you exactly which reels you need to take off for that BOM. So you just pick them off, and it'll tell you you've got all the right reels. And if you pick one incorrect, it'll actually flash up on the centralized computer. Take that thing back, you took the wrong reel.
So if anything is taken out of the rack without like pre-checking it out, it'll just show an error and like tell you you shouldn't be taking it out.
Yeah. Put them in the wrong way. So it's detected as incorrect.
And then in there is a temp controlled room that has all the important like chips and like
So
MCU,
these are all the humidity.
like important stuff.
Oh, clean room.
You know, they'll take a trolley down, they'll pick the BOM from the stores, and then this will be loaded onto an SMD machine for a particular build.
So this is drying room. We try to, well, not try to. We dry all the components before they go onto the SMD line.
Yeah, because if you don't dry them, you can they can pop and.
It's basically a big stove.
Massive ovens, removing all
ovens,
the different components before they get run through the reflow oven on SMD. Otherwise, the small components could and then land somewhere else on the PCB. This is batch firmware. So when the MCU is actually placed on the PCB, it's already got firmware. And it's probably your testing firmware, and at the test jig once passing, it'll get the final firmware. But it saves a whole lot of time. So you can see it's just trays and trays of components. One by one, it'll pick them off the reel, take it over, make enough contact with it to get it into the bootloader, program it, and once it's done, place it back onto a tray for SMD.
So these are the actual STM chips?
Yeah, these will be MCUs. Well, whatever can take firmware.
Okay.
Could even be EEPROMs just receiving their MAC address or whatever unique serial they need. This is pretty cool, lasering the fiber laser the chips after programming. So that would indicate, if they were batch programmed with a particular serial number or whatever that you need to be able to reference after the fact, it's now marked on the chip. Solder paste has to be kept in fridges. Otherwise, it goes bad.
So this is a X-ray component counter where she just takes a roll of whatever component in there. It's just like vision.
Yeah, it'll X-ray the roll and tell you exactly how many are left on there. There you go, 741 on there.
Oh, so it's just so you don't have to count it.
Yeah. It's confirming that you've got enough for the build on that reel. And then it'll QR code so that the SMD machine can read it and know, I've picked the last component on this reel, time to reload.
Yeah, because I'm assuming when you load it in a machine, it knows how many and then it feeds it, but you want to double check that the math is correct.
Otherwise, you can waste an entire batch of boards because it's trying to pick that thing. Normally on the SMD machine, there is a double check because it's got to optically align a lot of the components and it'll be hey, something's there.
Rather not risk it.
Exactly. You don't want to stop the line all the time because, hey, that component's run out. This is optical inspection, automated.
Well, this is X-ray inspection.
Oh, this is X-ray.
That inspects all of the soldering joints, see if there's any defects in them.
Yeah.
So this is tested every 2 hours.
So you just grab a couple every couple.
Every 2 hours.
Random samples off the line.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is stuff that you just cannot do with optical inspection. You can't get under the ball grid array, for instance. So this will scan those. I'm not sure what we're running through here. There we are. What is that? That looks like EBB. Yeah, I think it's the USB EBB. Is this one running right now? I think it's just reloading a reel. But yeah, it'll take those in and run its pick and place as soon as it's done with the reload. You'll see it's just gone through the solder pasting process there. I think if I remember correctly, this is measuring the volume of paste after the process to make sure that the volume of paste is good. Dude, that is a chunky monkey motion system. Yeah, you've got some pretty impressive mechanical engineering going on there to move that mass at that speed and that acceleration with that accuracy. So it looks like this is almost exclusively connectors and larger SMD components, and that would be your smaller chips. That's your reflow oven there, yeah. So
this is just placing everything.
all SMD, and then it shunts it off. So the process is solder paste inspection, SMD or smaller components, SMD larger components, reflow, and we're done. So you'll notice after it picks, especially with the smaller components, it always takes it over that.
Yeah, that aligns everything.
And it's got little like air jets that'll pull and push, align it just right, and then drop it. It's just insane when you think of how much is going on, how many possible failure modes there are, and yet these things just go through and they get placed with accuracy. Then into the oven, and there's many temperature ranges here, so it's going to start off, it'll go through a ramping process, exactly, then it'll bring it down. And the thing is if your PCB is 2-layer, it all happens twice. One layer one side, you flip it around, and so the oven over here has got 2 temperature zones, a top and a bottom, because if it's 2-layer and you've already done 1 layer, you don't want the components falling off the bottom. So you need that to be cooled while the top is heated so that it melts. So it's a very sharp thermal. So then it comes out the end, and we can see over here the finished goods.
So after it comes out of each stage of the production line, there's a QR code that like the camera scans, and then a machine like this checks visually if there's soldering paste where it needs to be and where a component needs to be. And if not, it'll log it's like a fail or something, and then someone pick it up. And if it's all okay, then like all of the information will be logged onto this QR code. So the whole thing is tracked with QR code in their like cloud system. This is where all the big components gets put on, either manually or with a machine.
So that's the thing, yeah. You've got to kind of place all the through-hole components by hand. So they'll all be placed by hand, and then provided it's not a 2-layer board, it'll be sent through like a bath of solder where only the bottom touches the solder bath. Wave solder machine, exactly.
So this is where all the component gets put into the actual through hole. And then because this is, well, on this line, it's very labor intensive, or not like reliant on like human. So there's a machine here that actually checks if each component
was put in the right orientation.
Was in the right place. So this stage just checks if there's anything that's in the wrong rotation or is missing or is like not completely in or something like that.
Have a plate on top basically acts as a weight to keep everything pushed down as it flows through the wave solder.
Yep.
Exactly. So this we can wave solder because it's only a single layer board or single side. Obviously multiple layers, 4 layers. If you've got dual sided, then what you would do is selective solder. It's like a little nozzle that's constantly flowing, and it's just programmed to touch on certain points and stick around there for a while. And it dances around the board and solders all your through hole.
And there's the fountain of molten solder.
There you go. You can just see it there.
There's one coming out this side.
Yeah, well, that's just passed through.
So this is like a after kind of checking, like cleaning process. So they check if anything wrong, and then they clean out all of the extra like solder residues off of the board.
Yeah, clean the flux.
And then there's also a machine over there that also kind of checks anything went wrong with the soldering, if things are in the right place and stuff like that. So, and all of this is, again, tracked by the QR code. So yeah, QR code everywhere.
At least then you can track if there is an issue to like a particular batch. And then a component you will be quite familiar with, Panda Revo. So E3D supply everything up until the connector, and then we just simply apply the connector, as you can see here. What's she doing? She is applying the silicon paste that seals things off, and then it's UV cured. Okay. So you'll notice that these are exposed. They've been through the soldering process. Then they get sealed up nicely, and then UV cured. Check it out. So that would be quite solid there now. Okay. So strain relief, everything kind of built in. That wire is going nowhere after it's been through that process. And that's the finished product, basically. Next stage for that will be test jigs.
Testing, and then the heat sink dropped on the trying out.
Correct. So after test jigs, smack a heat sink on and package it up, good to go.
So it looks like there's a spot where, like, as it comes out, if something's like needs a little touch up or whatever, they can do.
They'll just touch it up straight there. Like the machine will flag it and be like, that's no good. Cool. So they'll just go and quickly touch it up.
The solder joint.
Because how else do you do it? You can't just run the whole thing
Yeah,
through
you're not going to scrap the part because
Exactly.
when it's not in a position, just fix it.
Yeah, and the test jigs will catch if their touch up wasn't good enough.
Okay, so this side is testing of the finished boards and stuff with test rigs and like jigs and stuff. And this side is like assembly line for some of the like extruders and that's H2 V2S.
Oh yeah, there you go. A bunch of eddies being put together. Package, good to go. What are these? These would be H2 V2S. Yeah. This is being. That is a lot of H2 V2Ss.
There you go. Tap.
CNC tap. There's your CNC taps being born.
One red one.
And
TFT screens.
yeah.
Nines.
Panel Revo.
Test jigs for the extruders.
And that about covers the tour of BQ BigTreeTech. Again, I do want to give them a massive and huge shout out for flying us out and hosting us for TCT Asia and bringing us down to Shenzhen for a tour of their operation. So before we wrap everything up though, I'm going to throw it to Luke for some quick words of wisdom. Cheers.
In case you guys needed some motivation for the day, there you go, get rich right away and do not find reasons for failure to find ways to succeed.